Welcome to another monthly edition of the Rogers Capital Market Commentary, where we attempt to be the antidote to water cooler wisdom. Now, what do I mean by that? I say that every month. 25 years ago, when I started in this business, in maybe a little different culture, workplace, office environment culture, it was common to kind of congregate at the water cooler or the coffee pot, the lunchroom, and chat about the events of the day, be it sports or politics or financial events. So an obvious poke at the wisdom that comes out of those conversations. Folks who are obviously uninformed, but yet speak like experts. A little different today. Some of you young folks especially may be like, water cooler, what is a water cooler? But all the same things going on, if not more. We get inundated with information and advice, opinions from various sources. And maybe not water cooler, but shows up in our email, floods our email inboxes. Genius all over the internet, from TV shows, round the clock financial TV shows, the YouTube world. We get inundated, social media, all over the place, information. It's an absolute flood of it. But what we're sorely lacking is trusted advice. So, gentle reminder, the folks churning this information out, they don't care about you. They don't care about any of us. And they're not invested with you. They're selling you something, and you know that intuitively, but they're selling you gold or Bitcoin. Even if they're not selling you a product overtly, what they crave is your attention, your eyeballs. They need your eyeballs so that they can turn around and sell to advertisers. Now, one of the craziest examples of this is the stock newsletter pump and dump, where folks, either big holders of a stock or even the companies themselves, will go to these newsletter folks, these YouTube opinion folks, and get them to pump up the story of their stock about how it's a great idea, it's such a genius, it's going to double over the next, and they pump it up so that then they can turn around and dump it after you've bought in. So my goal in doing these videos is to combat this constant barrage of information, these uninformed opinions, no interest on your behalf, okay, with these opinions that come from all around us. But combat that with some historical perspective and reason from somebody who not only cares about you, but somebody who's invested with you. So with that said, we're at October. Sounds crazy. Holidays are around the corner. September, as I look back here, was a little bit tough for us, down 4.9% in the S&P 500. And that left us beginning this month of October at plus 12. Now, of course, the big event news of the last several days, Israel now at war with Hamas. So I thought it would be wise to take a look back at the 23 historical geopolitical crises, wars, terrorist attacks, to give us some perspective on how markets might respond. In those 23 events, crises, The average one-day return at the onset, the shock of the event, was a negative 1.1%. That's the average, okay? Obviously, meaning we've had some better, some worse. But that average kind of makes the gain on Monday, after this most recent shocking event, a gain of 0.3% this Monday, unusual. In fact, only 4 of the 23 times did we see a gain the day after one of these events. Some more historical perspective, the average drawdown is negative 4.7%. The average time to reach the market bottom, to bottom out, to trough, was 19 days. The average time to fully recover from the losses, 42 days. So you can see in those numbers, equities historically holding up very well during geopolitical shocks like this, and we're going back decades to the 1950. Probably the most severe, shocking of those was 9/11. But if I asked you how long it took for us to recover from the 9/11 tragedy, what would you guess? A year? 2 years? Actually, the answer is 31 days. And we also see in this look back that besides the severity of the event, the fact that it may or may not coincide with the recession has also been a main driver or determinant, which makes sense and certainly kind of applies now as well as we find ourselves here in economic slowdown. Some more historical perspective here. We are now coming up on year 2 of the bull market. Okay, we had bear market in 2022, which bottomed out in October. October to this October of 2023 is the first year of the bull market. We're coming up on year 2. So what does year 2 of bull markets look and feel like historically? Well, market history tells us more gains likely lie ahead. Of the 12 year 2s since 1950, the S&P 500 has gained an average of 12.6%. And get this, it's been positive every single time. A similar gain this go round seems reasonable, given number one, we're likely continue to see improvement in inflation as growth slows, economic growth slows, which should keep the Fed flat in a wait and see position. Number two, the potential for rates to move lower, supporting stock valuations. And number three, profit margin expansion as inflation pressures ease, and new technology bolsters productivity. Now, obvious risks still maintain or exist here. The first, we're just seeing here, geopolitical risks. Additionally, a lasting recession. And then, finally, a further rise if the Fed needs to raise interest rates more. We have a reemergence of inflation. Those all would be risks to this. But historically, a pretty positive outlook for year 2 of a bull market. And of course, the next 12 months as we stand here today. So that's it for October. Hope you have a great fall in the works already. Holidays are around the corner. I cannot believe it. We'll talk to you next time.